Ladies and gentlemen, my name is EIKICHI Mizuno. I stand before you with one clear goal, to aim for the Nobel Peace Prize. And the reason is simple. I want to solve the challenge faced by 8.1 billion people. The crisis of a world running out of places for its waste. Did you know this? In just 23 years, Japan may have no more landfill space left. And by 2050, the plastic waste in our oceans could outweigh all the fish that live in them. At the age of 21, I started my first company, and for the next 17 years, I believed in only one thing: hard work. I convinced myself that productivity was justice, that results were the only measure of value. But when I look back, I see the truth. The more I created, the more waste piled up, and that waste was steadily destroying our environment. Just as the brighter the light, the darker the shadow. My journey too was casting a growing shadow of waste. The moment I truly felt this truth came through an encounter with an artist. His name is Mago Nagasaka, an artist and at the same time an activist. In Ghana, he transforms mountains of electronic waste into art while fighting to eradicate the slums that surround it. I first discovered him at a solo exhibition in Ueno, Tokyo. His work shook me to my core. I purchased 3 of them, and that moment became a turning point in my life. Through that encounter, the issue of waste was thrust directly in front of me. And when I learned that much of this waste had come from developed countries, a deep shock pierced my heart. Witnessing his challenge felt as if I were being confronted by the very shadow that had been building behind my own journey. That meeting with Mago Nagasaka shook my values to the core. It was a moment of awakening, a turning point I could never ignore. Do you believe that Japan has a high awareness of the environment? On the surface, it seems so. Yes, our rules for separating trash are detailed. Yes, we often hear the word recycle. And yes, our cities are prized around the world for being clean and hygienic. But here's the other side. Japan consumes enormous amounts of single-use plastics. In fact, we are often criticized as a plastic waste superpower. And when it comes to renewable energy, our share is still far behind that of Europe. Our steps toward a decarbonized society remain slow. In other words, Japan may appear conscious in following the rules, but when it comes to rethinking our entire lifestyle, our true environmental awareness is still not enough. Even Japan's so-called high recycling rate is nothing more than a trick of numbers. Take PET bottles, for example. The government proudly reports an 84% recycling rate. But here's the truth. Only about 20% are actually reborn as new bottles. The rest, burned in incinerators under the name of recycling. And when you burn, ash remains. That ash ends up in landfills. And those landfills will reach their limit in just 23 years. Behind the comforting idea of we recycle so we're safe lies a harsh and undeniable reality. Furthermore, in order to cut waste management costs, Japan has exported part of its plastic waste to Southeast Asia. But in many of those countries, the technology for proper treatment or recycling does not exist. As a result, mountains of waste are left in open fields, or it is burned under poor conditions, releasing toxic smoke. Local environments are devastated, and people's lives are harmed. In other words, Japan is pushing onto other nations the very waste it cannot handle at home. And this is no longer just Japan's problem. It has become a global burden, an environmental crisis on a planetary scale. And perhaps most alarming of all is the plastic waste drifting in our oceans. Plastic does not biodegrade. It only breaks down into smaller pieces. Microplastics. Fish, seabirds, turtles, they mistake it for food, and they suffer. They choke, they starve, their bodies become poisoned. And when we eat those creatures, the harm comes back to us, to humanity itself. According to the United Nations and the World Economic Forum, if nothing changes, by 2050, the plastic in our oceans could outweigh all the fish within them. This is not a distant warning. It is a challenge placed before every single human being on this planet. From these experiences, I made a decision. I will dedicate myself to solving the waste crisis. But, let me be clear, this is not something I can do alone. It is a challenge that must involve the entire world. That is why I chose to build a system that is sustainable. A system with true economic power behind it. Its name is ARTREBORN, transforming trash into art, creating a society where waste has no place to go because it no longer exists. A third pillar beyond recycling and incineration. A new system for a new era. At the foundation of my journey lies art. My family ran a traditional craft business for more than 70 years. From childhood, I grew up witnessing the power of art and craftsmanship. Later, I launched Bank of Art, a system for contemporary art. In just 3 years, it delivered 700 artworks to 175 companies. The key was simple: We bought every work from young artists up front. Companies, in turn, could enjoy the art while recording it as an expense. This meant artists gained steady income, and companies could connect it directly to their CSR activities. Now, I am applying this very foundation to ARTREBORN. By involving companies and even waste collection ventures, we will transform the very act of collecting waste itself into part of the artistic creation, a living story in motion. Why do I aim for the Nobel Peace Prize? Because it is awarded to those who have made the greatest contribution to humanity. And waste. This crisis of waste is the challenge of all 8.1 billion people on this planet. It is directly tied to our resources, our environment, our health, and the survival of future generations. If we can solve this problem, it will be one of the greatest contributions in human history. That is why I raised the banner of the Nobel Peace Prize, not for the title, but to declare this challenge to the world. In closing, there is one message I want to leave with you. ARTREBORN is not my challenge alone. It is a story we must write together until the day we solve this crisis and win the Nobel Peace Prize. And if that day comes, the prize money, about $10 million, will be shared with the 100 people who contributed the most. Because this is proof that ARTREBORN is not a solo journey, but a project we fight for and win together. So I ask you, lend me your strength. Join this challenge to turn waste into art and solve one of humanity's greatest problems. If this vision resonates with you, please share it on social media. And if you wish to stand as a partner, send me a message directly. Together, let us create a historic challenge. Together, let us aim for the Nobel Peace Prize. I look forward to hearing from you with all my heart.